What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to bring you my review of the Layers of Fear remake, remaster, collection, whatever you really want to call this game. It's kind of a mix of all of it. Before I get too far into this, I want to thank the developers for providing me a review code of this game. I greatly appreciate it. As you guys know, it changes nothing in terms of what I'm about to say, and so let's get into it. So the game comes out today, so today's the release date, and what we have here is quite a few different things. We have Layers of Fear 1 and 2 that are remade in Unreal Engine 5. So they took a big jump in terms of the graphics, in terms of performance, and we will talk about how they look. And then we also have an additional kind of chapter, DLC, if you will, that kind of ties everything together. So a little bit new stuff, even if you don't consider remakes new, you get some brand new stuff, and you also get what you would know as Layers of Fear 1 and 2 remade in a sense for modern gen, modern era, all that jazz. And I'm here to tell you that it's Layers of Fear. That's definitely what it is. No, look, so when Layers of Fear first came out, the first game, funny enough, it was actually one of the very first games I ever got for a review. I'm talking I was under 1,000. I probably had a couple hundred subscribers. I don't know why they gave that game to me, but I really like Layers of Fear. I still, to this day, am playing it back. I really, really like Layers of Fear. Layers of Fear 2, I never liked as much, and again, playing it back, I can kind of confirm that, again, I don't really like it as much. I do not think it's a bad game whatsoever. I just think it's just more of, but also slightly different, and not in a good way different than the first game. So what you're getting here is what you remember from the originals, okay? If you liked Layers of Fear, I think you're going to like this. I actually really like the additional content. The additional content is scary, I guess partially because I've never played it before. I suppose that is a reason, but it's just creepy in a different way than really even the base games of 1 or 2. I think they kind of took a different kind of horror approach to it. So I really like the new stuff. I'd say that 100%. The games also look really, really good. Now, there is a caveat. I would say my biggest weakness with this game, other than what you would just have normally said with, if you didn't like Layers of Fear, you didn't like certain elements of it, is the fluidity of the movement. So the game looks really good, okay? Everything in this game actually looks extremely, extremely good. The issue I have is, well, obviously what this game is, right, is you're walking through hallways, walking through rooms, spinning around, the room will change, and you do a puzzle, and you open doors. You open hundreds upon hundreds of doors in this game, right? You're opening cupboards, you're opening all this stuff. And one thing that obviously is improved upon with Unreal Engine 5 is, again, the look of it. I think the look of it is fantastic, but it feels very, like, it hurts my eyes. Is that an honest way of kind of saying it? I don't think, whether it's the frame rate or whether it's just the fluidity of, say, looking left and then swinging your camera to look right, everything looks good, but just the motion of moving really doesn't do it for me. It actually, again, kind of hurts. I don't think this is a game that I can play for multiple hours. I kind of did sessions of this game. Now, it's just me. Maybe people find that there's nothing wrong with it, and in which case, I would say there's very little wrong with the performance of the game. There were a couple of, I think if you try to rush certain scenes, like if something's happening and you go a little too fast through a door, you close a door too fast, or you spin around too fast, there's some like clipping, there's some odd things that happen with like characters in this game where they're supposed to be like behind the door and they're kind of like through the door because the game's trying to put them behind the door, right? But because you turn to face them so quickly, the game kind of panics. So there is a couple performance issues, nothing that like took me out of it or nothing that ruined it, but for me the biggest thing was just kind of moving the camera left to right, right to left, up down, down up, all the directions that you would do in such a game. But honestly, beyond that, and there's not too much to say, this game, I do believe it's good. I always like Layers of Fear. I think it is you think of PT and you think of those kind of games, that is what this game is. I don't think it's nearly as scary as those games. It's a lot of like trickery. Again, it's a lot of a room will do something, you'll spin around, a room will do something else. The second game kind of relies on, you can tell immediately, like the second game is more about things maybe popping up, or like a vase will fall, or there'll be mannequins and a mannequin will like do a quick little thing on accident, like it won't be supernatural or anything, it'll just like fall or something, right? So the second game I think goes for a little bit more like cheap scares. First game I actually actually think does a really good job. First game will do things like you're walking down a hallway and you can look to your left and you'll see like a figure in the door, and then the door will close, and you don't even really have to look that way, but it'll scare you if you do. Or things like you'll go into a room and you'll see some ominous writing, and on the door you'll see like a silhouette of a person like behind you, but you don't of course look behind you, you keep going straight. So it does some, I'd say, pretty creepy stuff, specifically the first game. The stories are pretty complicated. I think if you forced me with a weapon close to me, let's say, to be kind to YouTube, I probably couldn't explain to you what the stories are. These games are told primarily through things that you find. So you're going to find like newspaper clips. You're going to find all sorts, like, again, hundreds upon hundreds. For as many doors and cabinets you open, maybe for every one, you'll find 0.5. So every 2 times you open something, you'll find one thing. But there is a lot of context given as to who your character is, as to what's going on, as to the background story, whatever, through context clues, and actually just things that you pick up and you have to sit there and either read, they'll read it to you. There's so much of it that I do think it becomes a little overbearing. It's why I would never say Layers of Fear is like my favorite kind of these games. I just think it's a good quality game. I think it does what it needs to do. I think it was good back then. I think it's still good now, to be honest with you. I think it still kind of holds up. And the Unreal Engine thing, I think, helps it, of course, as well. But I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it. So I'd say if you're content with the originals, is there a reason to buy this? I mean, the newer stuff is not very long. It's not, in terms of like scale of what you're getting with those games, it's a lot smaller. So I don't know if it would be fully worth it. I mean, maybe just like a YouTube kind of walkthrough or just watching it. I don't know. And that's, again, if you're perfectly content with what you have. To replay it, and I haven't played these games since they first came out. So it's been, I think, was Layers of Fear 1 maybe 2016, 2017. It's been a long time since the first game. So it felt good, and I forgot so much of it. I remembered some things. I remembered some of the action-y, things, the lady chasing you and you have to shine the light at her, which does get kind of terrifying sometimes. I remembered some key points, but I did forget quite a bit of this game, and you're playing it with, honestly, a very fresh coat of paint, so that, of course, helps as well. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.